Hey guys, Peter from FS Bushcraft again. Well, it's here. I know I've had a lot of people turn around and have been asking me about, when I was going to start my winter dress and survival, being from my experience with the Canadian Armed Forces and serving up in the Arctic, 24 kilometers southeast of the North Pole to be precise, in a certain area. There's some of you might turn around and know those that have served or been in the certain area that I was. I can't actually divulge exactly where it was that I was, just because of the fact of it's part of the Star Wars satellite bases that were up there. Most of it, most people know anyway. But it was kind of that typical, we'll just say, military stuff that went on. But from there, I also turned around and did also the other place I can mention that people can turn around and look up online if they wanted to, and they're more free to go ahead. Another place that I turned around and stayed while I was up there was in Igloolik. Now, Igloolik is just in around the Baffin Islands area. If you guys know where that is. Still above the 60th parallel, so you're still in the North of 60 chapter. That here in Canada, we actually turn around and have in Ottawa. It's anybody that's been to the Arctic would turn around and know that there's a charter that they basically just keep track of anybody's name and stuff like that's been above the 60th parallel, and being that being up there, you're going to be in the extreme cold. Now when I'm talking extreme cold, I'm talking like you turn on an exposed skin, and within 30 seconds you're turning on running the risk of frostbite. Within a minute you can turn around and have third-degree frostbite. Within a few minutes you're losing digits. Our expedition, when I was up there in '91, we actually had one guy that was that we had actually turned around and lost his big toe, and that kind of gets into what I'm going to do. Starting with this series, for myself, I'm going to turn around and take it in a couple of different stages. So tonight, I'm going to turn around and start off with the your base layer, what I call your base layer, definitely for sure. And as the military and stuff, when I was trained and stuff, we also kind of call it your base layer, and then your base layer 2. And I'll explain what those two are. Now, the reason I wanted to start the series tonight is, like I said earlier, I put out the video of the Duracell battery packs that I had turned in and found. At the same time, we went out tonight and had to do a bit of shopping because of the fact of being that we have Mama Bear and Sister Bear, Baby Bear Kylie, is turned around and coming up to the bug out cottage with us. So, we wanted to be. I wanted to make sure that they had the proper stuff as far as the cold and stuff, because you got a little bit of snow. We had snow. It rained. We lost it. We got a little bit back now, but it's nothing to talk about. It's just like a coating on the ground, but it's cold, very cold. So for them, so I want to start it out. So I guess, well, I'll start off is that I get some nice printouts. Don't know if you can see it too well or clear, but I turned around and looked online. A lot of my stuff, I have my notes and stuff that I had from when I went to the Arctic. Like I say, it was back in 1991 or 2014 now. I've lost a lot of it. So your base layer 1, as I'll call it, for your dress, it's just your typical normal, your t-shirt, underwear, socks. We'll put it that way. Now, with the t-shirt and your underwear and the socks, definitely, I turned around and always try to say, and anybody in the Arctic, or anybody that has cold Arctic survival would turn around and say the same thing. You want to stay away, if you can, definitely stay away from cotton. Cotton in the Arctic and wet is a killer. And the reason being is that, as everybody probably is well aware, I'm sure everybody's well aware, and I hope everybody's aware, and if not, if you're just learning, then this is great, and this is for you. Cotton, when it gets wet, as most of our clothes are made, most of our underwear, t-shirts and things like that we turn around and get, that are made of 100% cotton, when they get wet, they stay wet, and they're cold. When they get cold, especially in wintertime, they stay cold. So you can picture that, if you were extremely cold or whatever and you had cotton and it got wet, what's it going to do? It's going to freeze. It's going to become an ice cube. So you're basically wearing an ice cube. So, picture, I don't know, putting your head in a friggin' freezer and leaving it in there. Like, it's not going to warm up no matter what. So you try to turn around and go with something. Polyester's good. Polyester actually, you know, it doesn't do that. Polyester dries really quick. It dries really easy. So you want to try to keep that, you know. I always try. Now, I do have some stuff, and I will admit, I'm not going to show you guys the garments, that kind of garment, because that to me is a personal garment. Personal underwear garment. So when I'm saying that, for, you know, for us guys, that could turn around and be, you know, a t-shirt, your underwear, boxers, whatever, and your first pair of socks. You know, ladies, our sisters out there, you know, it's going to be a bra, you know, their underwear and socks or whatever. But you know, I like to try to stay anything, definitely no lower than 80% polyester. You know, if you get a blend where it's like, you know, 80% polyester and 20% cotton, that's okay. That's not a major thing. You know, there's still enough of the polyester in there that it's going to turn on and warm up quick. So that's kind of the first layer. So get that done and over with. Now the one thing with the socks I would turn around and say is that I won't show the underwear and the t-shirt and stuff, but prime example, just a regular pair of sport style socks that are 80% polyester and 20% cotton that are in them. I wear those. So that would be my first layer with the underwear and stuff. The second layer, which is your second base layer, so you're basically turning out and wearing two layers. And in the military, we still consider this to be your underwear, undergarment kind of thing. And I got a picture of it there that I turned on and got offline to kind of show the idea. And I actually went out tonight and I turned on and purchased brand new. So I'll show them to you. Brand new from Walmart. And I got the set. Now they're the Everlast. Now, once again, guys, it's turned on and going along kind of with that my bushcraft, you know, on a budget kind of thing. I know some of you guys out there that might turn around and think, oh man, I'd love to go out in the wintertime and the whole bit, but I can't afford it. You know, I've seen that kind of stuff that he's talking about, and you know, it's like 60 to 80 bucks for a set, or you know, $100, and you just don't have that kind of money to pay for an undergarment. Well, I'm here to tell you guys, shop around, because you don't have to turn around and go with that stuff. I've used this stuff before. I swear by it. Everlast at Walmart. The pants, which is basically Long Johns, as we call them here in Canada, $12.97. Now, there was another brand that was there that was kind of like the Walmart brand, the cheaper brand, and it was 12 bucks, I believe it was. And then, if I remember correctly, there was another brand, but it was like $10, but it got less down. It wasn't as much of the polyester as there was in it. And then, you know, you get into the other ones, the cheaper ones, and it's the typical Long Johns. It's a cotton, which is no good. But with these ones, it's the polyester pants. So like I say, it's just like your Long Johns, but the pants. I'm sure, I don't know if anybody's ever seen these before or whatever, but I know it's hard to tell on camera, but it's almost, if you could picture, guys, if you're not quite sure, I know the ladies probably understand exactly what I'm talking about, but those guys that might not understand, it's almost, the way I would explain it is you think of a lady's, like a nylon, they're nylons that they wear, but thicker, and that's kind of the feel that it has to it. And with these, it's 90, on these ones I got, I believe it was 90, what was it again, let me see here, sorry, it was 84% polyester in these ones, so for $12.97, 84% polyester, 16% spandex, which is fine by me. You know, I know it works, I've used them, and they're warm. And then along with that, I got the t-shirt as well. And I always turn around, and because of it, I got the long sleeve. Now, the reason for this, that you want this material and have this next, you know, to your skin, definitely before, is that it's because of the polyester, it acts as what we call a wicking. So you picture just like a candle. Now, with it being polyester, when it gets wet, so when you perspire and when you sweat, it's very easy to dry. It'll dry very, very fast. And the benefit that that gives you is that if you're wearing it and you sweat, then it's gonna, it's like a wick. So if you take your layers, and as I get through, through the series, and we get through all the different layers and stuff, at the end of the series, I'll kind of turn around and do a wrap up of everything and explain it more in detail. At the same time, I gotta apologize if I'm taking forever, if I'm sounding like I'm going over things too much, but once again, guys, it's been years and years and years since I turned around and taught this, so it's kind of all coming back from memory and stuff. But it helps to wick away that moisture so that you stay warm, and this will actually turn on and create that layer that your body would be able to turn around and heat it up, that insulating layer against your body, and warm up. Now, for me, what I do, now I would turn around and with the two layers, like I said, we got the base layer 1 and base layer 2. So base layer 1 and base layer 2. Now I know that it said in base layer 1, you had your t-shirt, your underwear, and the polyester socks that I talked about, and then base layer 2 would be kind of your long john that you would turn on and put under. What I do is I kind of take these two and kind of mix it up. So in my scenario, I would turn around and wear definitely my underwear, and then wear the polyester leggings, would turn on and put on, with the polyester socks, like I mentioned, as the first layer. Then I would turn around and put on my wicking polyester shirt that I would put on, and believe it or not, yes, I will put on a short sleeve t-shirt over top of this. Now that short sleeve t-shirt can turn around and be cotton, because of the fact of being that I have this to turn around and wick the moisture away from my skin, because this is going to be right on my skin, and the t-shirt's on the outside. So now that t-shirt basically ends up becoming, in a roundabout way, it becomes my first insulating layer as I work through it. So just to kind of recap once again, I know you can get these sets really expensive. You can pay $60, $80, $100, $200 for a good layer, a wicking layer to have against your skin. Guys, if you don't have the money, it's not needed. And trust me, I wouldn't say it unless I knew it for sure. It's the one thing anybody that knows me would turn around and know. I don't know how other way to put it other than the fact of being, I've been in an extreme, extreme cold in the Arctic. We're talking, for me, I'm talking like, coldest I remember was minus 60 with the wind chill factor. Now once again, I know Johnny, my woodsman, is probably going to help me out there, and I don't have my cheat sheet in front of me. I made one up. So in Fahrenheit for you guys, I'm not quite sure. I know it's pretty cold. But I got to get better on those numbers. But my point, I guess, is that you guys can get this cheap. So like I said, the pants $12.97 and the shirt was $12.97. The same thing. No reason to have to pay the big bucks to turn on and go through. Now, on top of the polyester socks, I would turn on and start with that first insulating layer, which would be our next layer. I would turn on and wear another pair of, it's a mixture of polyester and the new synthetic micro wool kind of thing. A mixture of the two of them. Wool is another great. You can't get any better next to the polyester. Wool for sure. We think back to the old days, and that's what they used to wear, was the wool. Wool is the same way. Wool gets wet, it'll get wet, wool will freeze, but it'll stay warm. That's the cool thing about it. It never loses its insulating ability. And that's why even to this day, I'll use, once again, my experience with the Canadian Armed Military, and I'm sure that our brothers and sisters in the U.S. military, I know that they do too, and I've seen them up here in CFP Gagetown and training back in my day. A lot of their winter stuff was wool, and still to this day they have wool in it. But I would turn on and put these over top of the polyester. Now, the cool thing with these ones is that, once again, my lovely Costco, I turned around and got 4 pair for $9.99. They actually have the wicking in them as well, so with the polyester and the wool. But I don't know if you can quite see the little lines there. So that would be on the side for your foot. Actually have the breathing to allow your foot to be able to breathe because of the fact that I have the polyester lining inside. Now, yes, I wear 2 pairs. Some people would turn around and say, oh, why do you wear 2? You don't need 2, I only wear 1. Once again, it gives that added protection for me for the feet and your boots. When I get more into detail, when we get to that part of the boots, polyester is going to help turn down and wick away that sweat away from my foot. It's not going to cause to turn around and get, what's the word I'm looking for? Blisters and stuff like that. And then this is going to add the insulation for the foot to keep everything nice and warm, nice and packed. Cause an air buffer, which is my big thing. I always like to try to, with all my layers, just kind of have a thin air buffer that'll allow the body to turn on and heat it up, and that's going to turn on and keep you warm. So that's kind of the start on that, guys. Then, like I say, the next one I definitely will get into in another video. Probably do that when I come back, or maybe when I'm up at the cottage. I haven't made up my mind yet how long I want to run this. It all depends on how we start on the first one. But the next layer on the outside would be your insulating layer. With something like that, it could be even like the sweater that I have on now, a thin little zip-up sweater, which is one of my favorite sweaters I wear all the time. And then after your insulating layer, the layer that I was turning around to talk about is your first protective layer. Now that would be, you're starting to get to your outside, so this is the layer that's going to be exposed. So if you're in your camp and you're just working around, and you're kind of warm, but you're not freezing cold, you strip off or whatever. So, it could be a pair of insulated coveralls, in a windproof style shell jacket or a down jacket, or, a heavy fleece winter jacket or whatever. But like I said, we'll get into all that stuff and those pieces in great detail as I do each series. And I'll turn around and show the pieces that I wear on each one of those layers. And then at the end, at the end of the series, I'll do a video where I'm wearing all the layers, just because, and I want to take a time, I want to break it down. I know there's people out there that do these videos, and they kind of sit down in one video and they do the whole entire thing, and they kind of talk about it and all. This is the way I stay warm, and this is the way I do it all. That's cool, that's great. I agree 100% on what they're showing, but I myself am the kind of person, and when I think back of when I did my training, we did a SOVOP for 3 months before we went to the Arctic. It wasn't one video, it wasn't one show. 3 months of training, winter training, before we turned on and went to the Arctic. So yes, I know we're not in the Arctic, and I agree with that. And I know there's people that are probably going to say that, oh, it's not the Arctic. Well, no, it's not the Arctic. I'm in Canada. I'm in St. John, New Brunswick, as most of you already know. And, sure, it doesn't get minus 60 here, but it has turned on and got to minus 30. And it's got to minus 40. That's still extremely cold. That's still frostbite within minutes. So, if people know how to, my thing is that if you're going to do it, you can't overdo it. If you overdo it, so what? Big deal. If you're too hot, you start taking layers off. You take those layers off until you get to that level that you're comfortable, then you're nice and comfortable. You start getting cold, you got the layers. You put them back on, you're warm. You're not out there freezing to death because you don't have enough. So my thing is I always turn around and say it's always better to be over-prepared than be under-prepared. And that's something, I may as well get that down. You guys will see as we continue on. We may pack up and we may turn around and go, and you might see Cody and I go out, and it might seem like we have a lot. I'd rather have more than not have enough. Now, once again, I want to make sure that I have enough that I can carry. Now, I'm not saying we go overboard and you can't turn around and take it all, but I always want to be prepared for that unexpected thing. So that's kind of my philosophy, if it makes any sense. And if you just want to know more about that or whatever, then feel free, send me comments in the bottom of the video, and if people like, I can get more into that on what my feelings are and my thought and stuff like that. And then obviously the last one would turn around and be your 100% protective outer layer. Now to me, that last protective layer, your second protective layer, that's going to be the layer, like if you were going from you know, if you're going out for the weekend or going out for an overnight or whatever, in the winter, and that'd be the layer that you'd be wearing if you were walking, you know, from your vehicle where you parked and getting to where you were going at, where you were going to camp or whatever. That would be that layer. So in total, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So basically, down, or sorry, 6. Be 6 layers. But 2 of those layers you would kind of work with one another. So I guess in a way it could be 5 layers. But anyway, so that kind of starts it off. I hope it kind of made sense. Like I say, it's once again, I apologize. It's my first time trying to, some way I guess we could say, teach of doing it over. I know there's been quite a few people that have turned out and asked about when I was going to start. I know Tara Farley, Tara, sister, awesome. She had mentioned it in one of her videos about the fact that, you know, she don't go out in it. That's too bad, darling. It's crazy to be locked up all winter long and not getting out. But I'm here to tell you, you know what? You can try it, and it's not hard. You know, if you know the little tricks and tips and stuff like that, and dress appropriately for it, you can actually turn around and have an awesome time. The one thing I'll turn around and say that I definitely love is because of my experience being in the Arctic, I can take the cold a lot better than I can the heat. Do I still get cold? Yeah, I still get cold. But I actually enjoy more being out during the wintertime because of that fact. I feel like I could go because I have that energy with the cold that, you know, if I get too hot, I can strip down a couple of layers and I get that comfortable spot and you can just work non-stop. Whereas in the summertime, you know, if it gets warm, it's hard to cool off. It's hard to get to that, you know, what do? You know, you strip down to basically nothing, and then you're getting eaten alive by bugs, and you can't really enjoy yourself. So it's always nice. But yeah, that's one thing I always found is that, you know, I like the wintertime better for doing that kind of stuff and going out camping. Now, as we go through the series, like I say, I'll add in to the sleep stuff. And I'll probably, once again, I might do that this weekend. You know, we'll see how things go. But as it progresses, and add, you know, the sleep system that I would turn on and use during the winter. If we get a lot of snow, which I'm hoping for this winter, well, I am and I'm not, honestly, to tell you the truth. But if we get a lot of snow, then we'll definitely turn on and get into those extreme survival. And if it gets enough snow, and if the temperature's just right, and it has to be just right, that's the problem with being south in Canada, southern Canada, as we are here in New Brunswick, but the temperature just has to be right. You might even be able to turn around and make a proper igloo. And I can show everybody how to do that. Now, it's going to be harder because I know there's some of my American brothers and sisters, it's never going to get to, that's the thing with igloos that a lot of people don't understand. You know, they think, oh, you're just going to go out there, you're going to cut blocks. Yeah, you cut blocks to make the igloo, but the problem is that the temperature has to be, the snow has to be just right, and the temperature just has to be right. It almost has to be to the point of being that the entire snow, have you ever seen when it snowed out, and if you had that kind of snow where it was really, it got really cold really quick, and you kind of got that flash freeze on the top of fresh falling snow, so it's kind of got that hard crust on it. But once you broke through the crust, it was like it was nice and soft underneath and fluffy snow. So picture that little crust. You almost want that crust, that crusty, but not as crusty that it just crumbles. But if it makes any sense, you want that kind of all the way down through the snow. So the snow has to be the same all the way through. It's got to be a really, not a, I guess some people might think I'm meaning like a hard pack snow. It doesn't have to be a hard pack snow, but it needs to be frozen, if that makes sense. It needs to be like a solid frozen block of snow all the way through in order to make an igloo and to make it properly. That's one of the ones I laugh at. That one of my, I don't know what you call it, great survival guys that I look up to. I still haven't met him, but he's here from Canada. Everybody would know as Les Stroud. I just, you know, I've watched him for years and I've always heard about him and stuff like that. And you know, when I lived in Ontario and he lived in Ontario, he's from Toronto and stuff, and I've never got to meet him. But he's one of the guys I look up to the most. And the reason being is that, to be totally honest, out of all the guys that we have out there, to me, Les Stroud is the one that I relate to the best. Because a lot of the stuff he says is like me. It's like, you know, it goes. Like, you know, he's talking about fire, for instance, making fire. You know, do you put a lighter in your fire kit? Some people are, oh no, you know, because if it gets wet or whatever, why not? If I got a lighter, I'm going to use it. Like, use what you got. Now, do we need to know the flint and steel and the bow drill and all that stuff? Yes, most definitely. If you know that stuff, it's a great help. You know, it helps you out. So if that lighter is dead or it doesn't work or whatever, you need to know the other stuff. But you know what? I'm going to use what I got at hand. And be it, you know, I'm going to take the easy stuff. I'm going to take the hard stuff with me, but I'm also going to have the easy stuff with me as well. But yeah, to get back to what I was saying, I kind of, sorry, got off track there. But in one of his shows, he had turned on a dime when he went to the Arctic that one time, and he tried to build an igloo. And it didn't work. And the reason that it didn't work, and he found out afterwards, is that it wasn't the right snow. And he thought, once again, like everybody else, oh, it's easy to build an igloo. I mean, you just turn on it, you know, they blocks, but there actually is a pattern, there is a design to it. But like I say, if we get the right kind of snow for that, I'll definitely turn on and make one this year. And I'll show you how to do it. But anyway, that's Series 1. Sorry, I might have sounded like I was rambling on, and I probably did. But definitely, guys, give me some criticism. As you all know, we're just new in the channel, just starting out. I know there's a lot of you guys that have been out there for a long time on the YouTube. And YouTube was something that I was kind of hemming and hawing about. My good buddy Cole Craven, he knows about that. Him and I have talked about that when we were out on our camp out, about the stuff that I want to put on YouTube, but I didn't know because I know that I've seen other guys that have turned around and, you know, great in what they know, and great knowledge and stuff like that, and people that were turned on and bashed them or whatever that didn't make sense. I mean, that doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me in the fact of being that I know what I say I know, and you know, I've lived it. I've been there, I've done it, so there's nothing that I'm going to say that I haven't done myself. And that's one of the things I know that some of you guys may turn around and see, you know, if I make a comment or something like that and I see somebody do it, I'm like, hey, that's great, that's awesome, or whatever. That's the way I am. You know, I look at it all as if somebody shows me something that's good, I'm going to say it's good. If I've done it, I'm going to tell you I've done it, just to kind of get that out there so everybody knows. But yeah, I'm just kind of stuck for words right now, but help me out, guys. Give me some criticism. What you liked, what you didn't like, what I could have done differently, if I could have done it differently. And hopefully I'll turn around and when we do the next part, do the next set of layers, I'll turn around and pick up those things that you want me to do a little differently or say or explain a little differently. And then as we go on, hopefully by the end we'll have a perfect winter survival, Arctic survival. So we'll all be able to turn around and go to the Arctic someday and turn around and survive. Anyway, once again, Peter from MSS Bushcraft. You guys all have fun. Take care, and we'll see you when we get back after this weekend. Ciao for now.